Hi, this is Nandom. I created this application using Java, SpringBoot. It's a REST API backend application, and my routes have been secured using the OAuth2. Here I'll be guiding you on how to run this application and how to get your user token, and how also to use the token to get some server resources. So let's begin quickly. So you can get the application through this URL. When you go, you just either clone it to your system or you download and add it to your IDE. Now, having added it to the IDE, this is my IDE. You can see that the program is already, the application is already running. Here we have the application.properties. We have three application.properties file here. This is for development. So if I want to do it on dev mode, when I want to do on production, I use this. Okay, and on the main application.properties file, you can see that the profile here, the dev mode is active. So this is the dev mode here. If I want to make the production mode to be active, all I need to do is just to put this to be on prod, and that's all. So let me return it to be on dev mode. Now, having run the application, you can see the API specification using Swagger. Okay, so let's open the Swagger documentation and see. Okay, you open it here using the application routes, which by default is localhost at port 8080 /swagger UI.html. No. Let's see, http localhost 8080 /swagger UI.html. Okay, now Swagger has opened. You can see here that we have the user controller, the token controller, and the person controller. So the first step here is we're going to create a new user. So let's go to the post request for user, and then let us copy the request body, take it to Postman, and create a new user. You need to create a new user with a client ID and secret with a username and password in order to be able to get your token. So let's give it a try here on Postman. We're going to start. Okay, we're going to have, this is a post request, and the URL is you see /API/v1/user. So here we have http localhost at port 8080 /API/v1, then /user, just as we see here, /API/v1/user. Okay, that's so. Let's copy this request body and take to Postman. On the body, this is raw, and then we choose the JSON. Okay, so this is the JSON. So we paste in here and we create. Okay, so the client ID, let me say, is Jonan. Okay, and then let's give it a secret. Let's say online 247. Okay, the account non-expired is true, the non-locked is true, the non-credentials expired, non-expired, it's true. So let's put our email, let me say at yahoo.com. Okay, so the account is enabled. Okay, then for the password, let me say it's Nandom. Same thing for the username. Let me say Nandom. Okay, now here we're going to start creating the roles and the permissions. So for the role, let's give it a role name. So let's say role _ let's say admin. Okay, now for the permission, let's give this user the permission to create a person, because the application is based on creating a person performing a CRUD application on person. So we have to create person, to update person, to delete person, and also to get a person using the ID, or to get all persons. Okay, now I think this is done, so we just send this and wait for the response code and what we will get from the backend. Now you see here we've gotten a 200 response code, which means that this is a success. So the user has been created. Now it's that same user credentials we would use now to get our token. The reason why we'll need the token is that any request that does not have the token is being rejected by the server. So here, let's go and get our token. You can see on Swagger here, this is the token endpoint. So you see here we create a post request to OAuth/token. So let's go and do that. So this is a post request. So this is HTTP localhost at port 8080, then /OAuth, then /token. Okay. Now here we need to add the authorization. The authorization is just the basic auth. Okay, so here the basic auth, remember the basic auth here is for the client details, and for the client details we have the client ID, which is Jonan, and the client secret is online247. So here we have Jonan as the user ID, and then here we have online247. So this is it. Now let's proceed. Also, when we add the authorization, we need to go to the body, we need to go to URL form encoded. Then here we now give the user credentials. So here the user credentials are the username, then the username, remember we put is random, the password also is random. Then we need to specify the grant type. Okay, the grant type is password. Okay, this username is gotten from this. Remember here we put the password as random and then the username as random. So that's what we're going to put in order to get our token. So now that it's done, let us hit send and wait for our token to be generated and returned to us. Good. Now you see we now have our access token, and the type is the bearer token, and we have the refresh token, and this is its expiry, and the scope is read and write. Okay, now let's check our token and let's see the details of this token. So how do we do that? We send a post request, okay, to this URL, HTTP, let's say localhost at port 8080, port 8080. Then we now put OAuth, then we now put check token. Now look at it here. Let's copy the token and put it in there. Okay, here I copy the token, I put it in here. Token equals to this. Okay, now we also need an authorization in order for us to get more details about this token. Okay, so the authorization is also a basic auth. Okay, same username and password for the client that we use to obtain the token. So let's hit send and see. Good. Now you see it has returned this information. Here is the resource. Okay, this is a person REST API. You can see the username for that token is random, and the scope for the username is read and write. Okay, you see that this profile is active. It expires on this. Okay, and these are the authorities. Now this is a role admin, and this also has the permission to create a person. Okay, and this is the client ID. Good. Now that everything is verified, we can now start using our token to send both a post and a get, a put, and a delete request to the server. So let's see how it works. Okay, Back to Swagger. Here we can see the person controller. Under the person controller, here we can create a new person using the post request. Okay, now let's open here and let's copy the request body and put on postman. Okay, so here is a post request. Okay, let's look at the URL. The URL is API v1 person. Okay, so http localhost at port 8080 then slash API slash v1 slash person. Good. Now let's go to the body of the requests on raw. Let's put it on JSON. Okay, and then put the request body. Now I want to put age to be 99 and the name, let me say Michael, and then the last name, let me say Jordan. Okay, the hobby, let me say basketball, and then let me say high jump. Okay, high jump. Okay, good. Now if I attempt to send this without putting the token, okay, let's see what will happen. Okay, by default, you see here when I put the bearer token, it's expected that I put in the token here. Okay, fine. Let's go get our token and put it in there and see. And also let's try it without the token and see the output. Okay, now here let me just put a false token or something that's not there. Okay, and this is a request body, so let's send and see what happens. Okay, you see here it's giving me an error message, invalid token. Okay, now let's go back and put the correct token. Okay, I've copied it, so all I just need to do is to paste it. Okay, now let's send. Now I've sent. You see that I have a response status of 200, which means success, and it has returned the request body showing that a user has now been, a person has now been added to the database. Okay, now let's try to get persons by ID. So to get a person by ID, we go to the API. Okay, this is to get person by ID. Okay, and all we needed to do is to pass an integer called ID, which is required to the URL in this format. Okay, so let's copy, let's paste. Okay, so this is a get request just as it is being shown here. Okay, so let's put http localhost at port 8080 slash API v1 person. Okay, let's get person with ID 1. Good. Now let us not use a token. Okay, let's see what happens. Now you see I have unauthorized access because my request does not have the access token. Okay, so let's go here and copy the access token that was generated, and let's add it here to the authorization. The authorization is a bearer token, so we add it in here. Now let's hit send. You would see that it will bring person with ID 1. Okay, fine. Let's try a person with ID 2. Okay, let's hit send. Okay, this is ID 2. Okay, fine. Let's try a person with ID 3. You see that it will go in and bring a person with ID 3. This was just the one we added. Okay, which is Michael Jordan, and these are his hobbies. So this is the video just to show you how to use this application, which I hosted on GitHub. This is a person backend application, which the routes were secured using the OAuth2 protocol. Okay, so you can download it, try it on your system, and let me have a feedback. Let me know if it runs on your system, and let me know if it doesn't, so I can try to help out. Thank you.